Story 1. Fill notebooks with as much as I can remember, big and small, about the last 27 years. Every single detail exhaustively so I can write the most prophetic science fiction of all time. Put Jules Verne in second place. Story 2. Go and place bets on all the winners in various sports, make a few billion, and live my life as richly as possible. Story 3. Go to the video rental store and rent the castle, then watch it with a table full of movie snacks that cost me less than $5. Story 4. Go buy as many copies of Super Mario 64 as you can find and keep them unopened in mint condition. Do you know how much those sell for now? Story 5. I attend high school and strive to be the person I am today. Those bullies will learn. If this is going to be a permanent situation, I will take much better care of my knees. Story 6. It depends. If I am at my current location, I will drive the Lumina. If I am back in a town with a 4-digit population in North Carolina, I will scream. Then I will see if I can get one of the Toyotas to start. Story 7. If I could manage it, I would visit a specific flight school in Venice, Florida, and advise them not to provide flying lessons to a few individuals from Hamburg when they inquire in a couple of years. I would also suggest that they be flagged during that time. Story 8. The first thing I would do is buy a collection of compact discs and enjoy the music I loved. I would also invest in some stocks that would turn out to be profitable later. Story 9. Go and talk to myself at the age I was then. Tell me to run away from family and live with cats in Soho. Story 10. Going for a jog, or more likely rollerblading, because my knees and back work as they are supposed to, instead of all physical activity causing me intense, agonizing pain. Story 11. I remember a morning when I woke up and my 4-year-old self started playing Spice Girls at 7 in the morning. Story 12. Begin planning to excel in the interview for the high school that moved me from 12th grade to 9th grade. Story 13. Do I wake up at my current age with everything I know now? If so, say hello to the new founder of Google. Story 14. I guess it depends on where and how I wake up. Am I back in my baby body? If not, and I am in my adult body, I will need to find my family and figure out how to manage the fact that there are 2 of me. So the first thing I do is determine where I am. Story 15. Am I me now? Or did I return to my old 1998 body? If I were my 6-year-old self again, I would relish every moment. I would play with my cat, who was a kitten then, and truly soak up the experience of playing with my siblings. If I am my 33-year-old self transported back in time like Marty McFly, I would try to experience life in the 1990s as an adult. Perhaps I could attend a concert. I might also chat with my grandmother, if I could do that without disrupting the space-time continuum. I would also observe the people who owned what is now my house. Story 16. I mourn the loss of my children and wife. Then I would invest in familiar opportunities. If I cannot be happy, at least I can be wealthy. Story 17. Buy a house with the loose change I find around the home I am currently draining my finances paying the mortgage for. Story 18. Head straight to the nearest store, rent 5 movies I have already seen, and feel like royalty while doing it. Story 19. I would give my family some stock tips, then take on another project. Story 20. Plan to stop the events of September 11th. Instead of focusing on buying stocks or getting rich, a better world awaits us all if you don't squander the gift that has been given to you. Story 21. Buy Apple stock and ride the wave until Bitcoin is released. Then invest heavily and sell in 2020. Sit back and enjoy financial independence. Story 22. Place a bet on Michael Jordan retiring at the end of the NBA season and a lockout, as well as a long-term bet on Jordan returning in 2001 for the Wizards. Story 23. Probably smoke a bowl of that good old-school cannabis that just doesn't seem to exist anymore. Then maybe turn on MTV and watch some music videos. Story 24. I would be waking up to that summer weather in Compton back in 1998, creasing my rag in my mom's living room with my little brother, waiting for the friends to come through with a 40-ounce and zigzags. Story 25. I would likely invest in various promising opportunities and begin producing every hit song of the upcoming decade. Story 26. Start predicting events that I know happened, then proceed to elaborate extensively about the year 2000 problem as if I were a prophet ranting about the end of the world. Story 27. Try to experience life without the constant presence of the internet. The legendary England rave scene still exists. Story 28. I will probably grab lunch, call my girlfriend to set up a date, and try to figure out a way to get in on the ground floor of Amazon. Story 29. Check the date and see if my younger sibling had been born yet and if I had to wake up for kindergarten or not. Story 30. Go straight to Atomic Music and check flyers for the best lineup of drum and bass DJs at this weekend's raves in Houston, New Orleans, Dallas, or Austin. Story 31. I smoked weed and skateboard to 8th grade. I also bought every Pokemon booster box in Alpha, Beta, or Unlimited Power 9 card I could convince my mom to buy for my allowance. I was busy buying Kevin Garnett cards, even though I was actively playing both Pokemon and Magic: The Gathering. Story 32. I don't know if it's the first thing I would do, but I would have started collecting silver coins that are still in circulation. Story 33. If I am the age I am right now, I would probably go see my mom and give her a hug. I might also warn her and her sister to get cancer screenings so they can catch any issues in time before stage 4. Then I would check out baby pictures of myself. Not to brag, but I was a cute baby. I always thought it would be wild to hold my baby self. Story 34. Stop by my favorite bakery for a ham and cheese croissant and a coffee. Then head to the radio station and greet the whole town before playing a song to wake everyone up and get us going. Story 35. Am I the same age as I was in 1998? Otherwise, I would have to explain to my parents why there is a 36-year-old man in their son's bed. Story 36. Puke in the hallway after eating ice cream from a questionable ice cream truck, and watch my brother play Resident Evil 1 on PlayStation. Story 37. In my old body, I am leaving myself a note about stocks at a later date to avoid disrupting the milestones of my life that define who I am, in case I am stuck there. In my current body, I plan to find some fake identifications to survive if I am stuck, and I am starting with an off-the-books job to afford rent and manage paperwork. Later, when my younger self is old enough not to disrupt the timeline, I will meet with myself and we can be awesome together. Story 38. Well, I would be single, so I would never get married again. Secondly, I would go out and find that copy of Mandrake Linux to start my journey. Story 39. Reassure people that the world won't be gone after 2000. Visit the place where my parents met and enjoy the food from the school canteen that no longer exists. Try to connect with my father's biological parents. Story 40. Enjoy life. Life before mobile phones was on a different level. Earn, save money, buy good stocks, and wait for the right time, which can take approximately 15 years to invest in Bitcoin. Story 41. Forget about college. Go straight into the trades and avoid a $41,000 higher education bill that I cannot use. Story 42. Get serious about paying off all debt and staying debt-free. It has been a burden for too long. Story 43. Finding Enya and inviting her to the most lavish lobster dinner I can afford. Then I would tell her how her music changed my life, helping me through poverty and my struggle with alcoholism. I would thank her from the bottom of my heart. Then I would ask her to sign my Gandalf hat before leaving satisfied. Story 44. Buy an inner-city warehouse to convert into a living space before they transition from quirky to generic due to gentrification. Story 45. Go to the school I attended at that age, find the teacher who abused me, and make her feel the same fear she inflicted on the dozens of little boys she had harmed up to that point. Story 46. If I could travel back to my current age, I would work hard to buy properties and invest in businesses. However, if I traveled back to my age at that time, I wouldn't know what to do because I hadn't been born yet. Story 47. Buy Yahoo and Apple stock, then sell Yahoo before the tech crash and buy Google. Also, prepare to start a preparedness company that advises large corporations, charges them significantly, and essentially does not provide any real value, as the predicted effects will be negligible. Then, retire and invest in real estate, as property prices are expected to increase significantly over the next 20 years. Story 48. I would hug my dad, enjoying the company of my brother and mother. We live in a different house now, so the idea of still living together under the same roof would really excite me. Story 49. Well, if it's 1998, I'm still in therapy and have 1 year left. I'm probably either going to the boat or to the office. I work a half day, change, eat lunch, work out, shower, have dinner, and then continue to manage my high-functioning alcoholism. Story 50. Create a fake software patch for the 2000 bug and sell it online to make some money. Then create the blockchain and Bitcoin before Hashimoto. Story 51. Pick up and hug my child, then head to the zoo or somewhere fun. She would be 5. That is a magical age, and I would relive those years again and again forever with no complaints. Story 52. Hoard boxes of Pokemon, and then make sure to bring all my important belongings from my house the night of the fire so I have memories from my childhood. Story 53. I assume I remember everything between then and now. File for divorce. Story 54. Scrivo la saga di Twilight e poi 50 sfumature prima delle loro autrici. Così le scrivo meglio e guadagno un bel po'. Story 55. Today is 1998. Ask Sandy if she is a good girl and if she wants something to eat. Then rub her stomach because she is a walking fluff ball. Story 56. Tell my mother not to persuade my grandparents against buying a property for me while I am at university because she wants me to move back afterward. It didn't work, and now I would be mortgage-free. Story 57. Drive to the Native American casino, win Keno, drive back to Raleigh, and divorce that person before she tries to poison me in 2001. Story 58. I would spend all of my time seated next to my grandpa's piano, soaking in the sound of him playing and singing again. Story 59. Invest every penny I earn, preferably buying stock in every internet-based company and conveniently selling them before March 10, 2000. Then use those returns to buy stock in Apple and Amazon, and after a few years, save to buy Bitcoin a decade later. Story 60. Steal from everyone I know because I would only have allowance money. Buy any stock that has increased significantly, then invest in Bitcoin 10 years later and make them all millionaires once Bitcoin rises. Story 61. It's funny how everything seems to revolve around making money through stocks, Bitcoin, or other investments. I saw Jerry Seinfeld discussing why everything seems to be about money nowadays. In the past, if you did something cooler than someone else, you were considered cooler. Money wasn't such a significant focus. I'm not sure if it's just a rich person talking, but it really makes you think about how much money and the pursuit of wealth have become a focal point in our lives. Story 62. Wake up in the middle of the dot-com boom. Get a job building advanced HTML and CSS websites for $100,000 per year. The middle-class cost of living is approximately $40,000. Invest the remaining $60,000 yearly into Apple stock, priced around 13 cents adjusted for stock splits. In January 1999, Nvidia goes public at $12 adjusted to approximately 40 cents. Move capital into Nvidia stock and hold both stocks. Fast forward to late 2007. Exit the stock market entirely and convert everything to fiat currency. The United States enters a deep recession. On January 3, 2009, news headlines read Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. Satoshi Nakamoto shares Bitcoin version 0.1 via the cypherpunk mailing list. Buy as much computing power as possible and mine Bitcoin from day one. Once liquid exchanges appear in 2010 and 2011, use accumulated wealth to buy more Bitcoin under $1. Accumulate relentlessly. Become the richest person on Earth. Laugh maniacally all day, every day from my volcano lair. Story 63. I woke up realizing I am still at my parents' house, but if I were to open my door now and accidentally enter a space-time corridor to 1998, I would buy lots of real estate and invest in winning stocks. Story 64. Buy tickets for Starrcade 1998 to prevent Goldberg from losing his 174-0 streak to Kevin Nash. I would just steal the batteries from Scott Hall's taser. Story 65. If it made me young again, I would redo many things. If I stayed the same age but lived in 1998, I would be relieved to buy another roughly 20 years before all this happens. Story 66. I was 16 in 1998. If I woke up back then, I would leave school immediately and get a job, saving everything I could until after the dot-com bubble burst. Then I would invest everything into Amazon. I would live normally, not focusing too much on investments, as my future would already be assured. I would wait for January 2009 when I would become one of the first people to mine Bitcoin. Story 67. I walked up to the bar that's around the corner from my old house with my best friend. We would ask, "Do you have 35 cents so I can call home for a ride?" Until we had enough quarters to use the cigarette machine in the bar. Then we would go behind the bar to take beer from the construction workers' trucks. We spent the night walking up and down the streets, playing basketball in front of our friends' houses, drinking beer and smoking cigarettes until sundown, just like we used to do. Being 13 at that time was a blast. In retrospect, someone really should have stopped us. Story 68. Either have a clear conversation with my grandma or tell my mom that my kidneys might fail next year and take me to get checked. Story 69. Regret not writing down the flight numbers, then purchase shares in Nvidia, invest in Bitcoin, wait it out, sell, and try to do some good with that money. Story 70. That was the best time. We should have stopped right there. Although my Dodge Dakota had its flaws, it was a great-looking fun truck with a tape deck. Story 71. Buy a much bigger house than the small flat I purchased in 1998. Tell the people I believed were my friends to leave, and go find my husband to have an extra 18 months with him. Story 72. Tell my parents to buy shares of Google and Apple. They thought about it but never did, and my mom regrets that decision. However, I was only 3 years old, so I had no money. Story 73. Buy a large number of video games and Pokemon cards, opening the cards until I find at least one Charizard. Story 74. Stop being defensive whenever someone tries to talk to me because I fully expect to be hurt. I'm no longer at that school, and it's damaging my reputation at this one. Give all of my grandparents extra hugs. 3 out of 4 of them will be gone before I know it. Story 75. Pretend I hit my head so my mom doesn't worry about why I forget a lot of things and I'm not my usual self. Story 76. My future wife. At that point, we had only been together since the previous June, and she was captivating. She is still attractive, but back then we were young and had a lot more energy. Story 77. Depending on where I am, I will try to investigate if there is a 1998 version of me and potentially contact a physicist, after obtaining a few sports almanacs, of course. I will inquire about some hypothetical issues, such as whether a time traveler would be like antimatter to their past self or determine which movie from before 1998 we were closest to. From that point, I would suddenly realize not only the classic problems but also the fact that I am without a valid identification and may potentially have diseases like COVID-19 that others are not exposed to, thereby ruining my own fantasy. Story 78. Wake up in my current body. I would probably go to my family, trying to convince them I am their 2-year-old son from the future. The funny thing is that my dad was 29 in that year, just like I am now. Once they are convinced, I would visit my 2-year-old self and be the big brother I have always wanted to be, even if just for a few minutes. Then I would tell my parents what to invest their money in. After that, I would hop in a car and visit the places of my childhood to see if my memories of them are accurate. Next, I would go to my grandmother to see her again and advise her to visit a doctor for a full-body examination in 2019 and 2020. Finally, I would make my way back, hopefully with happier, wealthier parents and a still-living grandmother. Story 79. I am saving all my money for Bitcoin. It may sound crazy, but I believe that something great will happen in 10 years, and I will become a multimillionaire. I want to prove everyone wrong and continue to succeed. I'm also avoiding the girl I met when I was 19. Story 80. Have a great date night with my high school girlfriend and make it memorable. I hope to give her a wonderful memory. Story 81. Place a significant bet that Mark McGwire will break Roger Maris' home run record that baseball season. Story 82. I will just go through the usual routine. I will go to school, see friends, enjoy the moments, and appreciate the simplicity. I will also remain very aware of my past actions and their consequences, making small adjustments as needed to create a brighter future for myself. Story 83. Bail out and buy a bag of yolks, find the nearest rave, and go on a 72-hour binge. The 1990s were great fun. Story 84. Warn everyone about Al-Qaeda, the stock market bubble, Russia, Donald Trump, and the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Story 85. If I still possess the knowledge from today, I would find myself and pass a simple note. Invest in Apple, Amazon, and Google, then just wait to retire at 30. Story 86. I would start a year 2000 preparedness business and update everyone's computers so the year 2000 issue doesn't affect them. I wouldn't have to do anything but still get paid, and they would be at ease. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.